It went from perfectly clear outside to literally World War III.
Tonight, the latest in the Spokane fires. More than 800 structures destroyed, more than 65,000 people forced to evacuate. As families grow frustrated over continuing evacuation orders, Spokane officials say it'll be several days before they can return to their neighborhoods.
Spokane feels like family.
And hear from a Red Cross volunteer who helped his community evacuate to safety, even as his North Spokane home was threatened by fires.
Hot, dry, and hazy weather continue for tomorrow, but I am tracking increasing fire weather concerns due to breezy conditions for Friday and Saturday.
As we continue to track the Spokane area fires tonight, we are bringing you team coverage on evacuation updates, the latest in containment, and we're hearing from people who have lost their homes. Good evening. Thank you for joining us here on KREM 2 News at 5 o'clock. I'm Sydney Schofield. Mark has the night off. Let's kick things off with a look at current evacuations. We want to show you the Spokane County evacuation map. You can see it here. Large areas still under level 3 go now evacuations. You can see those areas shaded in red. You can still not return to your properties if they are in those areas shaded in red. Level 2 get set evacuations. You can see those listed in yellow, these areas. We do know that the few areas highlighted in green, those are level 1 be ready notices. You can see them here in these portions of this evacuation map right now. All 3 of the major fires are still prompting level 3 go now evacuations, but areas east of Old Trails Road, they've been downgraded from level 3 to level 2. Areas west of Swanson Road have also been downgraded to level 2 evacuation orders. It means people who live there can return to their neighborhoods. Areas east of Swanson Road still under those level 3 go now evacuation orders. Parts of Swanson Road also remain closed tonight. If you want a closer look at these evacuations, we do have links to these maps on our website right now. That's KREM.com. Let's start things off with Chris Sadeghi, who joins us now live tonight from behind the fire lines. Chris, what are you seeing out there tonight?
Well, Sydney, the people who live here off Indian Trail Road, they come down here to the blockade hoping to get to their homes, but you can see the Air National Guard. They unfortunately have to tell them they can't make it any further. But earlier today, we did get an escort beyond this roadblock for a tour of the damage. The video you're going to see is from Arrowhead Road and Hiawatha Drive. Most of the lots we saw had nothing but a chimney stack still standing, while everything around it charred, destroyed. Only a few objects you could still make out what it even was, including cars that are now just a shell thanks to a fire so intense it turned the windshields and aluminum on the vehicle into liquid. Somewhat shockingly, we did see homes right next to those that looked untouched with lush green lawns. It just shows how unpredictable these fires can be, and for the people waiting to get back, nervous days until they can actually lay eyes on their property. We spoke to one woman hoping to get to her home, but for now, she has not an idea if that home is standing.
I have no idea. And I've got the maps and all this stuff, and I've got people that are very techie looking at it, and they can't figure it out either.
And she told us that she is staying with a friend, and she pointed out that when you are told to evacuate in haste and you have only a few minutes left and you've never evacuated before, it's hard to know what to grab, what to leave behind. So they're hoping they can make it back to their property to grab some of those necessities and valuables they might need here in the coming days until they can make a full return. Sydney, back to you.
Chris, thank you. We do have some good news from the fire lines tonight. All 3 Spokane area fires have some partial containment. The Old Trails fire burning on the northwest side of Spokane has burned more than 3,600 acres at last check, but officials announced this morning it's 13% contained. The Autumn Lane fire, the most active of the 3 over the last few days, is also sitting at 13% containment. That fire, which is burning up in the 9 Mile area and into Stevens County, is estimated at more than 5,800 acres. And fire crews say that they've stopped forward progress on the Fairview fire burning in the Meade area. It's burned a little more than 1,000 acres. They say it's now 5% contained. Altogether, the Spokane area fires burned more than 10,000 acres. Let's talk weather now. are still under that weather impact alert. Meteorologist Michelle Bass keeping a close eye on air quality tonight.
Yeah, still dealing with ongoing air quality concerns. Smoke has thinned out just a little bit. We've seen some slight improvement this afternoon. If you've been outside, it's still hazy out there. For the most part, Spokane County in the moderate air quality category, though there are still pockets that are unhealthy for sensitive groups. You can see that across central Washington, the air quality is much worse, and we are looking at a wind shift over the next couple of days and some increase in wind that may just blow more of that smoke right back into far eastern Washington and North Idaho. So we're kind of monitoring that on a day-to-day basis. But for now, winds are generally light and will remain light through tomorrow. We do have a fire weather watch now in effect for Friday and Saturday across central Washington, and then Grant County eastward. That fire weather watch will be in effect on Saturday, looking at continued very low humidity, very dry conditions, but also an increase in wind. The wind's much less than what we saw last week, but still elevated with a gust of 25 to 30 miles per hour. Air quality alerts will remain in place, again, just kind of evaluated on a day-to-day basis. Otherwise, just hot and dry conditions all across the Northwest. That heat even extends to the west side of the state. Temperatures in Seattle in the 80s as well. We are in the upper 80s this afternoon, a couple of 90s. I think we're going to see more widespread 90s tomorrow. Otherwise, light winds, relatively clear but hazy skies out there through tonight and tomorrow. And then it's going to be the next several days where we're looking at pretty hot conditions for Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Those winds increasing on Friday and Saturday.
Michelle, thank you. A young Spokane man who lost the home he's lived in for nearly a decade is now sharing his story with others online. One of his videos showing the destruction of his home has been viewed more than 1 million times. Emily Fox Million is live tonight with how he's turning that attention into help for others. Emily?
Jake Personette has called Spokane home for his entire life, but he never anticipated that a wildfire would impact his North Spokane neighborhood. Now he's lost his home that he's lived in for 8 years. Personette was working Saturday afternoon when the evacuation alerts started coming in. His dad raced home to grab what he could, believing they'd only be gone for a couple of days. Instead, that fire destroying their home, along with 2 classic cars that had been in their family for years, and even the triathlon bike he was using to train for the Ironman Tri-Cities. When he returned to his neighborhood, he says his first thought wasn't about what he had lost, but about his neighbors who had lost everything as well. That perspective struck a chord with people across the country. A video he posted of the destruction has now been viewed more than 1 million times. He says that support has inspired him to spend his days delivering food, water, clothing, and other supplies to families who have lost everything. He also told me he's been receiving hundreds of messages from members in the community, and he hopes that it inspires people to continue thinking about their neighbors, continue thinking about Spokane. In Spokane, Emily Fox Million, KREM 2 News.
Emily, thank you. We do want to give you a quick look outside. Washington's primary elections were last night. After the break, we're tracking some of the races as the votes continue to come in. We'll be right back.